the immortal words of the Jacksons. Can you feel it? Let's turn this down and turn my face up. Can you guys hear me? There's something weird going on here. I'm assuming you can hear me. Hi, it's Thursday on the Morning Night Live. Welcome to the show. I don't know if any of my new followers are here, but sometimes this is how it goes. Things don't always work out perfectly. The challenge here is what's going on here? You can hear me. Okay, good. I'm hoping you're not hearing the echo from my headphones. I turned the gain down a little bit just to try to. Oh, that music's so loud. Is that me, or is that's just the music being loud? Let's turn it down a little more. So anyway, this little thing with the classified documents, right, is getting interesting all of a sudden. And it makes me wonder, not who wrote the book of love, but if my prediction might be coming to fruition. Now, if you don't know what that means, well, that means you might be new here. But I'm sensing something coming because of the way things are rolling out about this story regarding the classified documents found in Joe Biden's office. So we're going to talk a lot about that today, and I'm not going to go through every article because I have article after article after article about it. But if you want some good reading material, it'll be in the description after the end of the show. But yeah, other than that, there's a few other items, some updates on some news, and it's going to be fun today. It's not going to be your normal FTG Thursday, but it is FTG Thursday. So, are you ready? Are you going to buckle up? Are you going to get settled in? You got your coffee, you got your drink, you got your scotch, you got whatever you need. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Johnny, play the intro. Johnny. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Yep, that would be me. Ladies and hey, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel, where classified documents are only important relative to who has them, right? Doesn't that seem to be how it is right now? How's come it's 9:05? Oh, because I did an intro. Yeah, so there's some updates to this Biden classified document story yesterday and over the last couple of days. And it's just, it clicked in my head, you know. At first I thought this was a nothing burger, like a lot of the media was saying, because, you know, I really thought the Trump classified documents were kind of a nothing burger. But they wanted to make a huge deal out of the Trump classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. The big Mar-a-Lago raid, they went down there and went guns blazing into the residence of a former president. I didn't mean to rhyme that on purpose. It just happens to roll off the tongue that way. And but you know, they haven't really talked about what the classified documents were. They seem to forget the fact that it was the president of the United States who does have the power, or at least the, inclination to declassify whatever the frig he wants, because he's the president. That's one of the weird powers of the president of the United States. And but then we have, and there's so much criticism of the guy with the funny hair, our former president, Donald John Trump. And then now we have another president in a document scandal, but this is a little different. And but the media is just poo-pooing it, and it's just so interesting. And yes, Advocatus Diablo, I think you got what I was saying there. Is this the beginning of now look, here's the thing. Don't start talking impeachment, even though, as I will show you in an article, it could be an impeachable offense. Because it's like what was that? The Perfect Storm. Remember that movie, The Perfect Storm, with George Clooney and it was Marky Mark and a couple other guys that I can't remember which actors they were. And it was there was a thing about how the three storms converge, and here they had just made this super duper nastiness, right? Well, we seem to be getting a perfect storm, at least the couple elements of it, between the investigation into the dealings of one former vice president's son. Oh, I didn't reset this. Let me reset the superstar sponsor of the day. There is no superstar sponsor of the day yet. So give me a second, and you could be the one. There, fix that. There we go. Oh boy. And my prediction, y'all know my prediction. I made the prediction, what is it? November of 2020, where I said, this is all too set up too well. This dementia, what is it? Riddled man who's been telling lies all his life about his background and whatnot. Look, George Santos is the Republican Joe Biden. It's not the other way around. And I said in November 2020 that maybe they'll keep him in there for a couple of years, but somehow they're going to find a way to get rid of him, and wait until Kamala can have 2 more years and then run again. But I don't, because remember, in the Democrat primaries when they first started out, who was the media, and even I think the swamp of the Democrat side of the swamp, even though the swamp is fully laden with plenty of people on both sides of the aisle, the powers that be really wanted Kamala Harris to be president. They loved her, but she got no traction whatsoever with voters, and so they threw her by the wayside. And when the sponge brain shit pants one ended up getting the nomination and chose Kamala Harris, I was like, really? That was your weakest choice when you make and I'm like, I couldn't figure out how they're going to make it happen. And then they made it happen. Nothing, I'm not implying anything to my YouTube overlords. And then I said, well, this is part of a plan. This has got to be part of a plan. And now I'm starting to see things that are, make you go, in the immortal words of Arsenio Hall, things that make you go, So anyway, we're going to talk about classified documents and a current president, the former vice president, the guy with a son who got some miraculously lucrative job, some with no responsibilities whatsoever. But first, I must say good morning. Now, I know the whole thing, a shebang, got reset this morning, but I fixed it, and it looks like it didn't change who my receivers of the bell are. Okay, so over on Rumble, first person in the chat, Advocatus Diablo, who gets the bell. Thank you very much for being here. Also, good morning to Mike Savage, Blarg, Somnambule Nation, Chicago Mike, and that's Is that everybody over here? Simon Wolfwood. Oh, and is that everybody? I got everybody over there. There's not a whole lot of people over at Rumble, but I still suggest highly that you also be subscribed to Rumble. Just in case, also follow me on Locals. The Locals, I put it in the links every day, because if you follow me there, you'll get a notification just in case I end up not being in the places you expect me to be. And I'll let you know where I am there. And if you don't have to be a supporter, although supporter would be nice, because that helps make the show run. But just be a follower at least, so that you get the notifications. If you're a supporter, you'll be able to chat when I start doing my bonus live streams over there, and any other bonus content. So, which I'm going to start doing probably right after my 1000th show. So you got about 4 weeks to get be a part of that. To get, at least if you want to be able to chat and do all that other stuff that comes along with being a supporter, meaning $5 a month on Locals. Okay, so that's my version. That's what I'm using instead of Patreon or Subscribestar. I'm using Locals as my my supporter funded place to be. Just the place to be. Okay, there you go. All right, on YouTube, Avocados Diablos also gets the bell over there, which he would have gotten anyway had not reset the stream. Thank you for putting that link into the old chat. Also, good morning, Attack Alpaca, Septus Wolf, James Colley, Somnambul Nation, Reacciona Puerto Rico, Mike Savage Blarg, my favorite Canadian Jaeger ponies in the house. Rotten Corpse is here. Who else is here? Simon Wolfwood, Furry Kitten. Good morning, sir. Also, I said James Colley, I believe. Good morning also to Tyrannus Alexandrius, Tremere Lich, Tyre Alexander, good morning, sir. Also, Aaron Meredith is here. Dumbbeard is here, the beard of the century. Also, Tyler F is in the house. How you doing? Brad Young, what's up? Good morning to, I think that might be everybody. Asian Research Directorate is here. Nice to see you. Trippy Liberties in the house. Rick Ashbringer. Did I miss anyone up here? I'm scrolling back up because now this thing jumped again. Looks like I'm getting close. I think I got everybody. Renee Mayette, what's up? Real Wade Nation, what's up? And Chicago Mike's also over here on YouTube. And I think I pretty much got everybody. So, reminder, you are the sponsor of the Morning Night Live. The Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Hit the like button. Share the stream right now with whoever you share streams with. Gordy, Lord Stanhope, too. And if you want to sponsor the show, you can do Super Chats, but PDogNight.live is better. Then you don't have to give 30% to Susan. And then we're all happier because nobody really likes Susan anyway. But there's also Venmo, Cash App in the description down below. But at PDogNight.live, see, when you do the chats, the Super Chats or whatever, if you do them there, you get a little more room to write, because YouTube does it by how much you give, and I don't want it to be that way. I just want to be, if you want to give $2, I still want you to say, here's what I want you to do. I want you to say what you want to say and let the words all out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. Such a goofball. Anyway, so let's get into a few things in the news, and then we'll get into the main topic. Just some shit I saw on Twitter. The Consumer Price Index came out today. And it says it looks like everything are in line with expectations. Now, here's what you're going to hear from the morons that like to spin things, right? Here's everything in line with expectations. Consumer Price Index negative 0.01, whatever. I don't know what that month to month. Expectation was negative 0.1 month to month. Core up 0.03 month to month. Expected 0.03. 6.5% year-to-year inflation. Expected 6.5 year-to-year inflation. Core 5.7% expected, and it's the actual what happened. Now, there's some spinning going on. I'm just telling you, because the 6.5% inflation is, still not great, right? That's from last year to this year. And again, you don't just count last year, you count prior years, and, prices are up from last year, which were already up from the year before, right? So, like when I go to buy eggs over at the old grocery store, good morning, TC, I see you. If I go to buy eggs at the grocery store and I'm still paying like $7 for, 18 eggs, an 18 case of eggs, I know that a couple years ago I was paying like $3.48, right? So, I'm sorry, you can say it all you want that, inflation is going down, but no, when I go buy some eggs, I still see that $7, carton of eggs. In some places, it's like $10 for an 18 pack of eggs. It's unbelievable. There's a place here, one of the convenience stores, Quick Trip. I used to like to buy eggs there, right? Because you could go there and you could buy a dozen eggs. And this was one of their loss leaders. It was eggs. People go there and buy eggs all the time. It was one of their loss leaders. And they were $1 a dozen. This is less, probably two years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Now that's like $5 a dozen at Quick Trip, the cheapest place to buy eggs. And it's more at the grocery store still. So, and with $5, they have a 5 carton limit. You can't buy more than 5 cartons. Now, I ended up buying them at Sam's Club now. But you got to buy if you buy them at Sam's Club, you got to buy 2 18 packs of eggs. So I'm buying 36 eggs at a time, but it's only $10 at Sam's Club, or $10.99. I don't know. But still, I know if I see this consumer price index and somebody says, inflation is going down, I'm like, well, then why is a carton of eggs, 18 pack of eggs, still $7? That's not so. They try to flim flam you because last month it was 7.7 and the month before that it was 8.1 and then they had the record 9 point something the month before that. And they're saying, see, inflation's going down. Well, no. See, when you add it to the year before, it's still pretty bad. So anyway, someone here says today's 6.5 CPI numbers can be compared to a draw in a football match. Market behaves neutral till next CPI next month. There's no decision made yet by market makers, whatever that means. CPI inflation 6.5% and falling. Bitcoin flipping 18K back into support, bear in disbelief. I don't even know what that means. So, but you're going to hear the spin. Oh yeah, inflation's coming down. No, it's still crap. Okay, it's still crap, and that's that. Moving on. What's the other thing? Oh, that was. Hang on here. I always got to take the screen off because you never know what's going to show up in some of these stupid, these Twitter spots. I might say it'll say something about like the CPI, and you scroll down, and CBI stands for like central penis inversion, and they're showing you someone's penis again, and I don't want to see that. So let's see. Next, I have rest in peace JB is trending. The very legendary guitarist Jeff Beck has passed away. On behalf of his family, it's with deep and profound sadness that we share the news of Jeff Beck's passing after suddenly contracting a bacterial meningitis. He peacefully passed away yesterday. His family asked for privacy while they process this tremendous loss. Yes, he's one of the... well, there's Jeff Beck's playing, and I need to turn it off because I don't want to get one of those claims. So this is Mick Jagger, though, memorialized Jeff Beck on Twitter. With the death of Jeff Beck, we have lost a wonderful man and one of the greatest guitar players in the world. We'll all miss him so much. So if you're a Jeff Beck fan, or even if you're not a Jeff Beck fan, no, not suddenly, he got meningitis. Well, you never really know. That might be just what they say, but I don't have any. If they say specifically what he died from, then I'm going to believe them and not make it that important. To be honest, I thought he was already dead. Well, he's not. I think he's like in his, or was, because now he's no longer with us. I think he's in his mid 70s. But yeah, one of the great performers out there. Let's move on. This was a weird tweet. This is trending. 1929 Berlin is trending. Now, 78? Okay, 78 years old. And yeah, I figured he was in his mid-70s or maybe a little older. This is really weird, okay? So Alejandra Caballero, or Caraballo, the who goes by S-Queer on Twitter, had an interesting tweet that is really, really, really making the rounds. In fact, let's just do this right now. Hang on a second. What is it? Alejandra Caraballo. Let's just do this right now. Since it is FTG Thursday. Happy Thursday. By the way, it's Thursday, the 12th of January 2023 on the Morning Night Live, and I appreciate you all being here. Let's just give it an FTG to Alejandra Caraballo. This is the person who basically the go-to expert for Taylor Lorenz and Ben Collins. Anytime they want to talk about trans stuff, they go to Alejandra Caraballo, because Alejandra Caraballo did a lecture at Harvard once and proudly has that in this person's bio. This person who physically born in one sex and lives life as a different sex via the transgender movement, did this really weird tweet. And I'm like, and I don't get it. And maybe at some point this person will try to explain it. But this is 1929 Berlin is trending because Alejandra Caraballo said, I had this conversation with nearly all of my trans friends. Many are making backup plans to flee if things get worse. It feels like 1929 Berlin. And linked an article in Vice.com. And I don't think I can, you can't link it because there. So I'm curious. I want to maybe find the article, but a lot of people are giving Alejandra Caraballo a lot of shit about this. Good morning, Jay Pylon. How you doing? So here's some of the comments on this. Feels like, that flipped a little bit. Every law dealing with minors, turn 18 and chop off whatever you'd like and go to as many drag shows as you'd like. This is nothing like 1929 Berlin, you whiny, privileged Muppets. That's kind of that kind of sums up my feeling too. And it's like, you live your life, adult human being of nefarious and curious sexual tendencies, but leave the kids alone. Biatch. That's what I say. My favorite aspect is how on earth would somebody know what 29 Berlin feels like? Such self-aggrandizement. Oh, true. How the fuck would you know? Okay, that's what 29. You brought all this on yourself when you started trying to fuck kids. Now, let's be fair now. Not a high percentage of the trans people are trying to fuck kids, but it seems like we're trying to normalize, certain sexual things with kids. And it does seem to, and I don't like the G word, the grooming word, because I think I would say indoctrination is really the word you want to use. They're just trying to indoctrinate kids into make this seem normal when it's, and I think kids realize it's not normal, even though you try to force it on them. How on earth would somebody know what 29 Berlin feels like? Dude, you live under rocks. Seriously? They're questioning that question. Well, you don't know what 1929 Berlin feels like. So anyway, asylum, really? Who's being persecuted? What rights don't they have? 1929 Berlin, is she sure? I haven't seen signs in stores saying trans people aren't welcome. I've only seen that for the unvaxxed. Oh, that's an interesting way to say it. She's using it as a foreboding of how did we not see the jackboots in Berlin in 2029. Let's not make this mistake again, rather than, hey, maybe we shouldn't cut genitals off kids like 1929 Berlin. Anyway, hyperbolic nonsense from Alejandra Caraballo, who fell, who was got folded like a cheap suit in a congressional hearing. And then finally, let's see. Oh, well, this is interesting. The first dude, what do you call the vice president's husband when it's a woman? It used to be the second lady. Oh, second dude, not the first dude. He'd be the second dude. Well, he's the first dude too, because he's the first dude to be in this position. But the second dude apparently is going to Poland for some reason. Off to visit Poland and Germany amid rising anti-Semitism. Okay. Doug Emhoff, the husband of the Vice President Kamala Harris, is set to visit Poland and Germany later this month to mark International Holocaust Remembrance Day and to hold meetings aimed at combating rising anti-Semitism in the U.S. and around the world. Emhoff, the first Jewish person to be married to one of the top 2 nationally elected U.S. officials, will visit Krakow, Poland, including a stop at the Auschwitz-Birkenau death camp. He will then travel to Berlin to join a meeting of European special envoys and coordinators working to fight anti-Semitism. I guess I don't have any problem with that. It's funny though. There was a report recently that the anti-Semitic events that have been happening, they want you to think it's the ultra MAGA people doing the anti-Semitic events, and then we're finding out that most of them are done by other minorities. But I'm more than fine. This is the kind of a trip that a spouse of a high-profile politician would normally make. So I guess it's not a huge story. It's just interesting, I guess. So enough about those are the major things that were trending this morning. I don't see any new ones necessarily. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't close the wrong deal here. Real quick, let me do a couple thank yous. Thank you, Tyler F. and Swamp Fox Ghost, for retweeting my tweet of the show today. Also, Somnambule Nation, who was very, very diligent before I was, and put up the show before I did. And thank you for tweeting that out. It looks like the second one's messed up. See, oh boy, because I had originally had the show on a different stream key, but we had to redo it because something messed up. So anyway, thanks everybody. Why are you so angry in the house? Good morning, HS Hoover. Good morning. That's a new name in the chat. By the way, I had a great conversation with Nick Rekieta yesterday. We did our afternoon view show, and with Nick Rekieta as the guest. Boy, was that a good time! If you didn't get to watch that, check out the replay. It's on my channel. And also, amazingly, about almost 300 new subs out of it, too. So welcome to anyone who's new here. I'm really glad you dropped in, and welcome back. So, all right, let's get into what the main topic of the show today, because there's a whole bunch of stories on this today. And what is interesting, so we heard the news the other day that Joe Biden's lawyers, Joe Biden, good morning, Hig, in the home base in Florida. Joe Biden's lawyers, for whatever reason, were going through a closet in I think it's at the University of Pennsylvania. Joe Biden has an office there because they have some Biden think tank center there, and Joe Biden has a personal office in this certain place, right? And they found that the mind you, this was before the election, I think it was before the election. They were going through this closet and they found some classified documents. Now, the diligence of these attorneys who were going through Joe Biden's closet in his personal office, for whatever reason, his attorneys would be going through a closet in his personal office and finding classified documents, and everyone in the news media and on The View and all these other places were saying, well, no, this is just another burger. These just the lawyers for the president, who was not the president when those classified documents ended up in his office, they immediately reported the fact that they found these documents, and they turned them in, and they were very, very good boys. And unlike the guy with the funny hair who the FBI had to go raid his former residence. And, oh no, this is before the midterm elections, not before the 2020 election. But anyway, they had to raid the guy with the funny hair's personal residence and, show force and yada, 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 right? But Joe Biden, he's a good boy, and his lawyers, who were looking through his closet for just, some random reason and found these documents, turned them in right away, and everything is just fine, right? Well, not so fast, okay? Yesterday, today's Thursday. It was Tuesday. On Tuesday, CNN, this is CNN. CNN got some more documents. It was one of those situations of, but wait, there's more. There's more information and a little bit about the documents. So here is, stop talking about our dear leader Biden. He does no wrong as he stands persecuted against the world and does no wrong. The mainstream media. Yes, the mainstream media. Good morning, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
So anyway, CNN got this exclusive a couple days ago. U.S. intelligence materials related to Ukraine, and Iran and the UK found in Biden's private office. A source tells CNN. So now this is fascinating. This is so fascinating because this was a nothing burger, but Ukraine. Intelligence material related to Ukraine? What are you talking about? Good morning. Why are you so angry? Among the items from Joe Biden's time as vice president discovered in the private office last fall are 10 classified documents, including U.S. intelligence memos and briefing materials that covered topics including Ukraine, Iran, and the United Kingdom, according to a source familiar with the matter. Now, granted, when it's a reference to source familiar with the matter, you've got to be concerned that they might not be telling you the whole story, or they might be telling you a completely false story because, they don't like to tell you. But apparently someone leaked this to CNN to try to make this better, right? Attorney General Merrick Garland has received a preliminary report on the documents inquiry, a law enforcement source said, and now faces the critical decision on how to proceed, including whether to open a full-blown criminal investigation. And that's interesting because, at least the guy with the funny hair, he was the president and he had at least the power to declassify certain documents. And apparently some of the so-called classified documents, one of them in the guy with the funny hair, the former president, the president that we all know and love, it was like a personal letter from Kim Jong-un. Is that Kim Jong-un, right? Not ill? Yeah, Kim Jong-un. Which, it might be a classified document, but, you can understand why perhaps the president will not declassify that and whatever and keep that because it's a personal letter, even though it's a letter to the president. But in this case, it's the former vice president who clearly does not have the authority to declassify anything. And why does he have documents that are related to, Ukraine intelligence, not just documents, intelligence on Ukraine, Iran, and the United Kingdom in his personal office when he was no longer in office. So just curious. So anyway, John Lausch Jr., the U.S. Attorney in Chicago, had briefed Garland multiple times. No additional briefings are scheduled, but would be conducted if necessary. What do you mean if necessary? What? Oh, goodness. The classified documents were dated between 2013 and 2016, according to a source, the source familiar. They were found in 3 or 4 boxes, also containing unclassified papers that fall under the Presidential Records Act. The vast majority of the items in the office contain personal Biden family documents, yada yada yada. So they're cleaning it up by saying, oh, well, it was surrounded by a bunch of personal shit. You know, who cares? Blah blah blah. But the documents were discovered on November 2nd, just 6 days before the midterm elections. But the matter only became public Monday due to news reports. Wow, interesting. So there was no raid on Biden's office like there was at the guy with the funny hair's, personal residence, right? The source told CNN that a personal lawyer for Biden was closing out the downtown D.C. office. Oh, this is D.C. This is a different office. No, I got it. The downtown D.C. office that Biden used as part of his work with the University of Pennsylvania. The lawyer said saw a manila folder that was labeled personal. Open the envelope. Whoa, hold up. Wait a minute. The folder was labeled personal, but the lawyer opened it up anyway. Huh. Who's this a lawyer for? It's labeled personal, but the lawyer opened the envelope and noticed that there were classified documents inside. Do you see how this sounds? This sounds like, oh, this was just a perchance finding. It was just perchance that it was labeled personal, but he opened the envelope and he just happened to notice there were classified documents inside. Well, how did the lawyer know they were classified documents in an envelope labeled personal? This is such a wow. It's just such a coincidence. Then the lawyer closed the envelope and called NARA, which I think is something about the National Archives or some shit, right? After making contact with the National Archives, Biden's team turned over several boxes in an abundance of caution. Oh, yes, they were so cautious. They had no idea what else was in those boxes. They saw one classified document, not knowing, this happened to put him across a classified document, and they were good boys, and they grabbed up all the boxes, didn't look at anything else, and gave them to the National Archives. Yes, that's exactly what they did, right? So, in fact, here's how they write it in This is CNN. Biden said Tuesday he did not know that some classified documents had been taken to his private office after he had left the vice presidency, and that his attorneys, quote, did what they should have done by immediately calling the National Archives. I was surprised to learn there were any government records that were taken there to that office, Biden said in response to a reporter's question at a news conference in Mexico City where he was attending a trilateral summit with the leaders of Mexico and Canada. The documents, the president said, were found in a box. Wait a minute. Found in a box, a locked cabinet, or at least a closet. People know I take classified documents seriously. Wait. Here's the sentence he said. Okay. He said, people know I take classified documents, classified information seriously. You could have just stopped at documents because you did. And, it's not the first time. Now, look, I know that making a big deal out of this seems very partisan because I didn't make a big deal out of the Mar-a-Lago documents. Although, you know what? Not the first time that presidents have happened to have some classified documents and things that the National Archives have asked them to return, right? We know that happened with President Obama, right? We know what happened with Bill Clinton. Remember the sock drawer? Remember that sock drawer that Bill Clinton had? They found some classified documents in the sock drawer. And in fact, we also know that it happens with that other Clinton, her turn Clinton. Hillary Clinton. It's her turn to be what she can be, to classify whatever that's on that computer key. It's her turn. It's her turn for some jail time. Anyway, now, And then they continue here. The U.S. Attorney has submitted preliminary findings to Garland and launched. Lausch has already completed the initial part of the inquiry. They've completed the inquiry already. Wow, how quickly that happened. How quickly. And provided preliminary findings to Garland. A law enforcement source said this means Garland must now decide how to proceed. Garland has also personally involved, or wasn't personally involved, in some of the key decision-making related to the Trump documents investigation and the decision to send the FBI to search Mar-a-Lago. Now, here's what they're doing at CNN on this article. They're going to compare and contrast the two things. So here's the political consequences. See, now, again, here they go. They're going to show you the difference. Oh, well, Joe Biden only had 10 total documents. Some were top secret. Some were top secret, cooperating, and lawyers found and alerted archives. Okay, so this is Joe Biden was a good boy. Donald Trump, at least 325 total documents, 60 top secret, under investigation for obstruction. Archives first reached out to Trump lawyers. Here's the problem. Joe Biden, apparently these documents that had... how they describe it? Now, up here they described it as intelligence materials related to Ukraine, Iran, and UK. How do they describe it down here? Including U.S. intelligence memos, classified documents, and briefing materials that covered topics including Ukraine, Iran, and United Kingdom. Now, I'm going to go on to some other sources here because CNN, clearly, this was a new report Tuesday that was basically given to CNN. It was an exclusive given to CNN. But review of Biden spaces turns up second batch of classified documents, according to report. Now, this is yesterday they're reporting, because that was that first batch, right? But there's a second batch they've found now. Aides to President Joe Biden have reportedly found at least one other batch of classified documents stored at a different location than Biden's private Washington, D.C. office where classified papers were found last year. Oh, by the way, remember, notice how quiet they kept this, too. Because remember, this was 6 days before the midterm. They'd already raided Mar-a-Lago, but then they find him in Biden's place. Now, why on earth would they suddenly decide, these lawyers, Biden's lawyers, suddenly decide to just go clean out the office and go into the closet and find a folder marked personal and open up that folder marked personal? Oh, and lo and behold, find a classified document in it. And then say, oh, we're not going to look at these. We're going to close this up and just send them all to the National Archives and let them sort it out. It's very, very, very convenient. Hi, Josephine. Nice to see you. Welcome back. So anyway, a personal attorney for Biden discovered 10 classified documents in the president's private office, the Penn Center. Let's see. We already know that. And well, at the Penn's, listen to this, the Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement. That's like some kind of a think tank. That's kind of ironic because you know where I'm going there. Anyway, so they found the 10 classified documents, but it's unclear where the additional documents were found, when they were found, and if the search for additional documents is still ongoing. It is unclear what classification level the documents were marked as or what information is contained within them. So after the original batch of classified documents were found in November, Biden aides began sifting through boxes of documents from the Biden stint as vice president to locate other documents that should have been turned over to the National Archives. The first batch of documents was found in an envelope. Oh, this is an envelope, I thought it was a manila folder, kept in Biden's private office at the Penn Center on November 2nd. Again, before the midterm elections, boy, they kept that quiet. Okay, so I didn't say anything about the second document. So we're going to keep going here. So now, it's interesting because, remember, they knew about these documents November 2nd. Well, Merrick Garland named a special counsel to investigate Trump, not Biden, 2 weeks after Biden's classified documents were discovered. Isn't that interesting? Attorney General Merrick Garland named a special counsel to investigate former President Donald Trump. Well, this is, I hate, you know how much I hate this, right? Y'all know how much I hate this when I go through these articles. So you got this article with the headline, the name, the headline of the article. And in the first sentence, oh my God, it's the dang blasted same ass headline. That drives me nuts. Anyway, Garland named a special counsel to investigate former President Donald Trump, not President Joe Biden, 2 weeks after Biden classified briefings and documents were discovered at the Penn Biden Center. On November 18th, Garland named former prosecutor Jack Smith. Remember, Jack Smith is one of those total Trump deranged syndrome, hating the guy with the funny hair guys. Named former federal prosecutor Jack Smith special counsel for 2 probes by the Department of Justice of Trump. About 2 weeks prior, on November 2nd, Biden's classified documents were reportedly unearthed at Biden's so-called think tank at the Penn Biden Center by the president's attorney. Timeline suggests Garland appointed a special counsel to investigate Biden's 2024 presidential political opponent for allegedly mishandling classified documents while potentially knowing that Biden had allegedly committed the same violation. So anyway... Now, here's that clip of what Biden said about classified documents.
When you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago, what did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
Well, how that could possibly happen. How anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped.
Interesting. I'm wondering.
And it's just totally irresponsible.
Totally irresponsible. That's deep. So now the White House press secretary, affectionately known as Latrine Jean-Pierre, also really didn't want to talk about this a whole hell of a lot. Here's after White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said she will not go beyond what the president laid out regarding the discovery of documents. Okay, here, let's just
on the documents case again.
We're gonna watch this
You've laid out
because
that the president's lawyers and the special counsel are dealing with the legal side of this. You've now laid out that you have not had a conversation with the president about this.
Notice, this is not just the Fox News people asking her these questions either. Everyone wants to know about this. It's not just Fox News, okay? It's not. This guy, I'm not sure who this guy is, but he's definitely, because Ducey's the Fox News guy. So this is friendly fire coming at her.
This was reported Monday. It happened in November. Are you aware of any conversation in the West Wing among others, people other than the president, about disclosing this once it was discovered?
What I can say is I was asked by your colleague if we talked about the documents themselves. The president said he does not know what was in them, right? But also just wanted to clear that up.
She don't want to hear this.
Look, I understand you guys are going to have a lot of questions on this. I get that. I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions on process and specifics. And what I can tell you is that I'm not going to go beyond what the president laid out. I'm not going to go beyond what my White House counsel colleagues have stated.
Okay, so they didn't give her, in other words, they're not giving her any notes on this one, just stall and obfuscate and all that shit.
Refer you to them for any other specifics or additional information. I want to be prudent here. I want to make sure that we do this in the appropriate way.
We're going to ask them because that's our job.
I understand, and my job is to answer your questions.
Your job is to not answer the questions. That's what your job is.
On day 2 of this administration, when he swore all of you in, the president said, quote, "I'm going to make mistakes. When I make them, I'll acknowledge them.
Yes.
And I'll tell you. And I'll need your help to help me correct them."
And?
So you're the one here talking to us about this. That's why we're asking you. So let's just remember that.
Oh, damn! He got a little snarky there. Yeah, he kind of went Acosta on her. I don't know who this guy is, but he sure did, didn't he? And she ain't happy. She ain't having it. She is not happy that he went that way. He went in that direction. And anyway, here's goes.
Ed, we don't need to have this. We work very well together.
Yes, we're supposed to be friendly here because you guys are supposed to just tell the world whatever we tell you, except for that Fox News guy who I can have confrontations with because, he's just Fox News. But you Ed are supposed to be friendly. And he's, like I said, some friendly fire.
We don't need to have this kind of confrontation. Ask your question and I will answer them the best that I can.
Just shut up and ask your question. You don't have to be all snickety about it. There's another new face, Anonymity T2. Welcome to the show. If you're a new subscriber, I appreciate you very much. You must be because I by the way, if you're wondering why I do require to be a subscriber to chat in the chat, is because for some reason I am a what do they call those stupid sex troll bot magnets, and they fuck up my chat all the time. And sometimes they put things in my chat that get me suspended from YouTube. I don't know how that happens, but it does. And because, YouTube's the one who approves the names and shit. So that's why I do that. So I appreciate anyone who's new here, and particularly Anonymity T2, who is in the chat. Welcome. And you saw Racket's interview yesterday. Good. Well, good. I'm glad you saw it. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's continue with Latrine Jean-Pierre.
The reason we're laying that out is because you're laying out your part of the job. We're laying out our part of the job.
I know, but I'm just saying that we don't need to have contention. You don't need to be contentious with me.
You don't have to go there. You don't have to go there.
Did not answer this part of the question. Why didn't he?
She is not happy. Ooh, she don't like it.
When these documents were discovered on November 2nd, did it have anything to do? Because people are asking this part of it. Did it have anything to do with the fact that the election was just a few days away?
No. Oh, no. Ed. Y'all know this is just a nothing burger. It wouldn't have mattered if we had said this before the election, just after we had raided Mar-a-Lago, that Joe Biden has some classified document issues. That, of course, that had nothing to do with the midterm elections coming up. You're just silly. You silly man. You know that ain't right. Here.
The Department of Justice. It is literally under review right now.
Literally? What's the day today? It's January 12th, 2023. And it's what'd she say? It is literally. I gotta move this back. I can't even see because there's a cord in the way. Let's see. Let me move this back. I want to hear what she says. It's literally something. It's literally under investigation now.
Justice. It is literally under review right now.
Under review.
As I am talking to you, it is under review.
Okay.
So I'm not going to get beyond the process. I'm not going to get beyond what the president said. Look,
the idea.
The White House counsel, my colleagues in the White House counsel, laid out a very detailed information about what this particular issue on Monday. You all have that.
Yes. We gave you our talking points on Monday, and so we don't expect you to be asking about it on Wednesday. So just let me do my job and not answer your questions.
Get beyond that. The Department of Justice is independent, as you know. There is.
Oh, okay. Hold up. This deserves a poll. Is the Department of Justice independent? I would ask you, or are they doing the bidding of the White House? But let's just leave you this. This will be the question. There you go. There's a poll up. Is the Department of Justice independent of the White House? They're all one team, if you ask me.
Doing a review, and I want to be prudent here, and it would be more appropriate. It would be more appropriate for my colleagues in the White House.
Ed ain't having it. Ed is not having it.
Then we walk into the briefing room, and we hope they can come soon to discuss this. But there's another thing. There was nothing stopping the President of the United States from disclosing the discovery of these classified documents in his former office.
Hold up. You know, Peter Ducey's sitting right next to this Ed guy going, Why the fuck am I even here? This guy's doing a great job.
Before it was under Justice Department review.
What I
So
can
why
tell
didn't he
you,
disclose?
what I can tell you right now is what the president is share with you what the president said to all of you.
She got angry. Look
which is
look
he
how
was
angry she
surprised by
is.
this. He definitely, truly respects the process here. And also, when it comes to classified, he takes classified documents very seriously.
Yes, she could have stopped at documents.
Again, I'm going to leave you to the information that the president provided to
Hello,
all
my
of you,
dumb movies.
and also just yesterday, in front of many of you or your colleagues, and also what my White House counsel colleagues shared on Monday.
This, the leaders of the Senate Intelligence Committee today, like they did after the raid of
Okay, Ed, she's already dead. She's not going to answer your question, okay? Most of the state AGs and a lot of others threatened to quit if Trump sent that election meddling letter a few years ago. That's pretty independent, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean there, but welcome to the show, by the way. Another new name in the chat. I hope you enjoyed the interview yesterday if you're here too. All right? All right. So anyway, does anyone know where Ed's from? What news outlet is he? Is he the CBS? Oh, it is Ed O'Keefe, CBS News. Wow, CBS News, Ed O'Keefe. Punching latrine in the nuts. Clearly, figuratively, not literally. But anyway, all right. So anyway, I got a whole bunch of stuff. I got more. I have tons on this. This might take a while. Now here's an interesting note. Then this is just the news. This is John Solomon's outlet, or what's his name? But if this was not by John Solomon. So the University of Pennsylvania, the Ivy, and this is saying that the Biden Center pressed to end China FBI China spy probe after big donations from Beijing. Now remember, so here's why this is kind of getting a little weird, right? Because China has been giving millions and millions of dollars to the University of Pennsylvania, and it just happens to be the same place where this think tank, Joe Biden's think tank, which is an oxymoron, is located. So here's what John Solomon says. The University of Pennsylvania, the Ivy League institution, which collected tens of millions of dollars from China while paying Joe Biden and hosting his foreign policy think tank, successfully pressured the Biden Justice Department to end an FBI counter-espionage program targeting Beijing's increasing influence within U.S. academia. Pressured the Biden Justice Department to end an FBI counter-espionage program targeting Beijing. China is interesting. By the way, oh wait, I haven't got to use this one for a while.
China is asshole.
Attorney Merrick Garland shut down the FBI's so-called China Initiative in February 2022, shortly after more than 160 members of the University of Pennsylvania faculty signed and made public an open letter demanding the program be shuttered. Okay, so it was now, that's interesting. The members of the University of Pennsylvania faculty did the demanding on the grounds that it amounted to racial profiling. Oh my God. Women and minorities most affected. Anyway, the faculty letter was part of a larger university battle against the program. We acknowledge the importance to the United States of protecting both intellectual property and information that is essential to our national and economic security. We understand that concerns about Chinese government-sanctioned activities, including intellectual property, theft, and economic espionage, are important to address. We believe, however, that the China Initiative has deviated significantly from its claimed mission, and it is harming the United States research and technology competitiveness and is fueling biases that in turn raise concerns about racial profiling. Yes, this is a racial profiling thing, not the fact that China gave like $55 million to the University of Pennsylvania and is known for stealing shit. You know, intellectual property, stuff like that. Anyway, a handful of left-leaning universities. That's the letter. By the way, that was the letter. That was the faculty letter. That was from the faculty letter, I should say. And that letter was made public on February 9th, a couple days ago, after a year. A handful of left-leaning universities, including Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Harvard, had previously appealed to the DOJ to close down the program. 2 weeks after the letter was sent, Garland announced the termination of the program, sending shockwaves through the federal law enforcement. The DOJ's own website still includes to this day a lengthy recitation of criminal cases the 4-year-old program had brought against members of academia who were working with China.
China is asshole.
Either on espionage charges or failure to disclose foreign monies, as is required by law. Just a month prior to the Garland decision, the FBI director Christopher Wray, biting my tongue, the Reagan presidential traveled to the Reagan Presidential Library to give a speech pleading for a government to devote more attention and resources to combating China is asshole. Devastating influence inside the United States. He specifically cited cases where Beijing had used university academics to do its bidding. The FBI boss claimed China's espionage has become even more brazen and more damaging. And wait a minute. Again, the University of Pennsylvania, this is where the China's been given $55 million. Hello, K-Shell. And it's all just a coincidence. And then they just go through some cases where people were caught double dealing with China. Okay. But that's just interesting. That happens to be juxtaposed to the fact that we're having this issue with some classified documents the Biden Center had stored away in their offices, whatever. And then we saw this is just another article on the confrontation with Ed O'Keefe. So I'll skip that. Oh, here, I don't need this. This is done. Here we go. Now, I'm just going to keep on this theme for a little bit. Trump-era U.S. attorney assigned to investigate Biden's classified doc discovery. The Justice Department has turned to a Trump-era U.S. attorney holdover to conduct an investigation into how President Joe Biden came to possess classified documents at a private office in Washington, D.C. he used to work on behalf of the University of Pennsylvania. Reports this week noted that around 10 classified documents were discovered, although they found more now. Hello, AWOL. Nice to see you. Nice. Welcome back. Who the fuck actually trusts the DOJ? That's a very spot-on question. Good question. Anyway, so at least now, so they have a Trump-era holdover attorney. So I guess they are, at least Merrick Garland might have appointed someone who might be a little more independent than the attorney general himself, who's, basically a Democrat lackey. But anyway, the lawyer reported the fine to the national. Okay, they're back on this. The lawyer reported the fine to the National Archives because he was a good boy. Attorney General Merrick Garland has been briefed a number of times about the ongoing investigation into the matter by the Chicago-based U.S. Attorney John Lausch Jr., one of the few holdovers from the presidency of Donald Trump. Lausch, the attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, was appointed by Trump in November 2017. The documents were not subject to any previous request inquiry by the archives. Well, why not? If they were missing, why didn't the National Archives ask for them? Oh, because they're probably not a big deal. I'm still not making a big deal out of the first 10 documents, although it's just the tangled web that's happening here, and the way it's reported differently is pretty freaking amazing. Anyway, I'll skip that. And then Donald Trump says China probably had easy access to Biden's classified documents. And look, Trump's going to say what he needs to say, and it is fairly hypocritical in the way they're treating the two different things. But Trump speculated that China could have had access to the classified documents because the Penn Biden Center reportedly received $54 million in anonymous Chinese donations between 2014 and 2019. The Biden Penn Center received $54 million in anonymous Chinese donations between 2014 and 2019. So he wasn't even out of office yet while they were the Penn Biden Center was receiving these funds. Interesting. Biden's documents are highly confidential. Many pertain to Ukraine, where Hunter was raking through in the dough. Okay, this is what China wrote. This is what Donald Trump wrote. So look, I mean, Donald Trump also is feeling the glaring hypocrisy. And so he writes his tweets in a Trump style, which is fine. I don't have any problem with him. But he said, Biden documents are all caps, highly confidential, regular. Many pertain to all caps, Ukraine, regular, where Hunter was raking, quote, raking in the dough, and, quote, funded by China.
China is asshole.
Which gave $55 million to Biden. Okay, it was 54, but that's a rounding error. Through Penn, this University of Pennsylvania, and probably had easy access. Well, they found I don't know if they had easy access to Biden's closet in his personal office, but I think you get the point. Now, and then they go through the fact that in 2015, he threatened to withhold $1 billion to Ukraine if the Ukrainian government didn't fire the prosecutor, and all this other stuff related to it. So it's a Breitbart article. You can read that if you want. It'll be in the links. Let's see, skip that. The other stuff I have on this, I thought this is kind of funny. You're calling the president a liar. White House scolds social media for treatment of Biden. Yes, see, social media is treating Biden so poorly, so poorly. They were so gentle with President Donald Trump, and yet they're just got the pitchforks and hammers and all kinds of shit out for Joe Biden. Maybe even some shotguns and a nuclear weapon of some sort. When White House officials asked Facebook to explain why sister company Instagram temporarily stopped recommending President Biden's account, hurting its audience growth, so they're worried about the fact that the growth of Biden's Instagram account was slowing down, an executive blamed an internal technical issue that we can't get into, but that has been resolved. Wow, that sounds familiar. And they like to use that excuse for people on the right. Anyway, so the reply was, excuse me, I am quoting here, "Are you guys fucking serious?" Digital Director of Strategy Rob Flaherty responded in July 15th, 2021, a day before the presidential accused social media platforms of killing people by insufficiently censoring disapproved stupid 19 claims. I want an answer. I want an answer on what happened here, and I want it today. Flaherty demanded, this is a executive in the White House, demanding that a social media company to give him some information. He got a short explanation 37 minutes later and a long explanation 18 days later. Instagram mistook Biden's far above normal post on vaccines as evidence of vaccine misinformation for 2 weeks. So they... Because look, the poll 89% no. Oh, okay. Let's see. Is the Department of the Department of Justice independent? 89% said no. Okay, out of 35 votes. So yeah, I'm comfortable with that result. So apparently they got mad because the president's Instagram account wasn't growing as fast as they thought it should. Oh boy. And that the president on his Instagram account was possibly spreading vaccine misinformation. Oh boy, the jokes write themselves. Okay, the president claimed inflation was 0% in July. Twitter, okay, that's because that was wrong. He lied. Okay, so anyways, the Facebook executive rejected the White House request to boost the POTUS account in its recommendations as remediation. So they want, because he wasn't getting the engagement and they slowed some shit down, they demanded that Instagram boost the POTUS's account. Wow. Anyway, Birdwatch flagged a Biden tweet last week. The president claimed that inflation was 0% in July. Twitter users noted that the inflation rate for the month was actually 8.5%, and that Biden is referring to the change in inflation since June, which had the same 8.5% rate. The context was appended below Biden's tweet. Happy to connect you with some economist who can explain the basics to you guys, Flaherty wrote sarcastically to Twitter. No, the people who said you were wrong were true. It was correct. There was not 0 in July. There was a 0% change, but it was still 8.5%, which is terrible. Dumbasses. Anyway, so this is just more evidence. I'm not going to, you can go through this with yourself, but it's just more evidence of how the White House is trying to bully social media into its own goals. So, hello, Dragon Smoke. Thank you for subscribing. If you're watching, welcome. All right. Okay. And then I'm going to skip the rest of these because I'm going to get into something else. But there's an article here in American Greatness. It's okay when we do it. And the summary is a short question, excuse, and answer guide to the Penn Biden Center classified documents controversy from the same folks who brought you MoveOn.org and Nothing to See here. So they go through some questions, what the excuses that the Biden White House made, the true answer to the question. So, for example, how much does criminal intent come into play? The excuse is, in CBS's news coverage, they asked former federal prosecutor Scott Frederickson a leading question, quote, how significant was it that these documents were self-reported, voluntarily turned over? Oh, isn't that special? They were self-reported. I wonder how significant it is they found them in a closet by his lawyers and just happened to go into a personal file and notice it was classified. That would be how did that happen? That's the most amazing coincidence on the planet. That should have been the question. Oh, how significant was it they were self-reported and voluntarily turned over? That's a stupid fucking question. But it was used to distinguish it from the ongoing probe of classified documents stored at former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. The answer, though, well, then they give you an answer. That's even better. But you can read this one yourself. It'll be in the links. By the way, if you are new to the show or new to the program, or new to the channel for that matter, usually when I do shows like this where I'm rattling off a bunch of different articles and tweets and videos and whatnot, at the end of the show, I take all of those, every single thing that I do, and I put it into a single page on the internet. It's called a one-tab link in the second paragraph of the description, both on Rumble and on YouTube. It'll say this is where you can find all the articles. You click the link, and everything we did will be on a single page. Links to every single article, tweet, video, etc. So that's some bookkeeping that I need for the rest of you. Okay, and then someone has an article here on, yes, Filegate is impeachable. Now, this is where I'm not going to read this one either, but this is where I go into my prognostication from the past, my flirtation with the Nostradamus principle by Swame. What did the guy on the great Karnak on Johnny Carson, who probably most of you have no idea who that is, used to predict things. And in the past, I predicted something. And again, it was a long shot prediction, but it seemed somewhat probable, possible, whatever, right? I believe it was November of 2020, after we had a new president, elected, even though there was still a bunch of other shenanigans going on, I said to myself, why on God's green earth would the Democrats even nominate this muddled brain human being? And then once they got him across the finish line by hiding him and saying lots of bad things about the other president with help from the media and social media and everything else, why would he have chosen this woman who has zero traction in the Democratic primaries? And, other than the fact that she got horizontal to make her career go vertical, as who's the guy who says that all the time? He's hilarious. I have to think of who it is. It's the guy. Anyway, I'll figure it out. Anyway, this guy who can barely finish a sentence and says a lot of stupid shit did they really want this guy to be the president? And I thought to myself, I don't think they did. And so I thought to myself, I said, it's very possible that for some reason they're going to find a way to have him be removed. But they can't do it now because then Kamala Harris wouldn't be able to run for 2 terms afterwards. But she was the media darling at the beginning of the primary. So I was like, since she got no traction, but they all wanted her. Well, look, because they, you know what, they desperately want that that demographic-based victory, which if she became the president, she would be a demographic bonanza, being that she's female, which, you know, It's My Turn Clinton never got to, right? Because the guy with the funny hair fucked up that for her. And so they would have their woman in the president office. And then the bonus tracks on intersectionality would be the fact that she has some African heritage, although not African American heritage, because, you know, a lot of black people don't count that when your, you know, dad's from Jamaica and mom's from India. But then also the India factor. She would have the, you know, she's got all kinds of check marks she can check off. And some people will just say she's black because she went to a HBCU, which would be a historically black college and university. But how would they get this absolute shit show of a former candidate who got no traction with people in the office? Well, if you put her with a really brain-addled, morally and suspect president who has enough skeletons in his closet to, you know, to, well, I was going to say something really bad. I'm not going to say that. That would have been awful. Anyway, my prediction was that Joe Biden would be out of office sometime in 2023. They would find a scandal. They would find. Remember when he said they planned that if they needed to get rid of him, he would just get sick, and they would say he had to leave the office because he was sick or whatever. And I was thinking to myself, you know, that maybe that was the plan all along. And boy, it's funny how all of these scandals are becoming a lot more interesting lately. You know what I'm saying? Like the laptop story, you know, they held it off during the election, but then miraculously, just in the year when you really would need it to have some scandals for Joe Biden, then the New York Times and the Washington Post and all these people start believing that, or agreeing that, oh, well, there is some there. It really was Hunter's laptop. And there's a whole lot of stuff on that laptop that shows that Joe Biden was probably doing some shady deals while he was vice president. And then in January of 2023, lo and behold, all of a sudden, we have some classified documents that he has that, you know, he had them when he was the vice president. So he couldn't have unclassified them, unlike the guy with the funny hair. And so you have a scandal that, what does this article say? Ooh, yes, Biden's Filegate is impeachable. But the subheadline of this is kind of funny. You can't go to a movie theater and get projection as expertly perpetrated as today's Democratic Party offers. So anyway, and they just laugh at how they treat the two cases very differently. But is this the Joe Biden version of the walls are closing in? I'm just curious. And is this part of a pylon? And I don't mean a pylon like one of those orange cones, but as like a pylon when everyone jumps on the pile when the guy's already been tackled, of Joe Biden. I'm just curious. And I don't think, clearly Biden's doesn't seem to have any illness other than he's dementia. And, but are scandals going to cause him to pull a Nixon? Is he going to resign at the designated time? Because I predicted March 2023. And someone said March 22 is coming up, which would be the date in which, if something happened to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris became president, she'd still be able to run 2 times. Boy, could you imagine how much that would piss off Gavin Newsom? Because everyone knows Gavin Newsom wants to run for president this time. Interesting. Anyway, yes, Annalyn, I did mean dog pile. 2 words. Anyway, thank you, Gunfox61, for sponsoring the show, dropping a big Hamilton in the tip jar, and you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, Gunfox61, who dropped an article in, oh God, what is this going to be? Gunfox is, he tries to increase my blood pressure. Oh, yeah, no, this is 45 minutes. This is a new article. Oh, good Lord. By the way, good morning, CNN Sucks, the most redundant name on the internet. Good morning, the chosen one. Welcome, sir, or madam. I'm not sure which because I can't want to assume your gender. And Robert Banks is in the house. Nice to see you. Emmanuel Presley also. All right. Gunfox just sent me this. I haven't seen this one. What's the date of this? 45 minutes ago, The Hill puts this on the internet. Lawyers for President Biden have discovered additional classified documents from this time as vice president at Biden's Wilmington, Delaware residence. The White House confirmed Thursday. Today's Thursday. They just confirmed this today. This is new. They found more. Holy shit. Hi, TC. Richard Sauber, special counsel to the president, said in a statement that attorneys for Biden searched the president's Delaware residence. In his residence? You notice something? It's not the FBI at Biden's residence. It's his special counsel to the president. You're a dude. Okay, well, okay, dude. Welcome. Nice to have you. The special counsel to the president said in a statement that attorneys for Biden searched the president's Delaware residences in Wilmington and Rehoboth Beach. After 10 classified documents were found at Biden's old office in Washington, D.C., the search was completed on Wednesday night and turned up a small number of additional Obama-Biden administration records with classified markings. All but one of these documents were found in storage space in the president's Wilmington residence garage, Sauber said. One document consisted of one page, was discovered and among stored materials in an adjacent room. No documents were found in the Rehoboth Beach residence. How's a broke vice president? Well, never mind. We know why Joe Biden has multiple homes and millions of dollars. It has nothing to do with him being a civil servant for 45 or 50 years. Anyway, lawyers immediately notified the Justice Department of the discovery. See, they're trying to be good boys. They're trying to make it less bad by, doing what they're doing the right thing. The White House will continue to cooperate with the review by the Department of Justice. So, Gunfox, thank you very much. That'll be in the links too. In fact, I'll put it over here with all the other stuff. I'll move it to let's see. I'll put it somewhere. It's in the middle of all that stuff now. All right, I was going to try to get to some other things before he left. I really was. This was not going to be all classified document gate. Let's see. All right, I got a couple here that I'll do real quick. And then there's 2 of these American Spectator articles. One was, yes, Biden Filegate is impeachable. And the other one is, the classified story of the pot kettle black president, because he was pretty adamant that President Trump was irresponsible. And yet he had classified documents in his office. All right, now we're going to try to get through a couple more things before I go. This is just a juxtaposition story, okay? And I'm going to want you to look at the headline when I flip to this next little web page here, and I want to show you. I want to show you something that is about juxtaposition and perception, okay? Here we go. Here is the first article. Oops, that's still my face. Let's find it here. Let's get it on the screen completely. Let's do it here. I'm going to make it so it fits. Why is that not doing? Oh, because I got to do this here. Let's make this fit. All right. That's better. Here we go. Juxtaposition. Look at this article and the title. The title is The 82nd Putnam Competition announces top students in undergraduate mathematics. And we have this beautiful picture of this lovely young lady and this nice diverse background of students back here. All these kids back here. Putnam competition announces top students in undergraduate mathematics. Today, the results of the William Lowell Putnam mathematical competition and the preeminent competition for undergrads in the United States and Canada were announced, okay? So the Putnam top students in undergraduate mathematics with this lovely picture of a diverse bunch of students. Now, like I said, this is about juxtaposition. Here is a different article in a different publication announcing the winners. It's MIT News. MIT students take first place at the 82nd Putnam Mathematical Competition. Here are the students. That is a much less diverse picture of the students. Again, we have A and B. Now, someone had pointed this out to me on Twitter. I have to admit, I just didn't find this on my own. And I saw these students of at least seemingly of Asian descent or heritage. And I thought to myself, who wrote the first one? This one's by MIT News, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Very proud of their students who won this competition. But this is from what is this? What the hell is this? I can't even see what that says. The Mathematical Association of America, showing the nice diverse photo. My initial reaction when I saw this, I said to myself, it's okay to be Asian, motherfucker. Just put the Asian kids up there. They are the ones who won the damn thing. Why are you doing this? Who announces top students? Why don't you put the winners up here? It's okay to be Asian. I don't care. You know what? Look, if my Asian American brothers and sisters are really, really, really good at math and they know how to do some engineering shit or some programming shit that works, that's who I want doing that shit. I don't care if it's a bunch of Asian Americans, all right? In fact, I implore you to hire more of the people who are able to do the shit instead of just trying to make it look like this all the time, because this ain't it. This ain't it. This is it right here. This. I'm cool with that. Right? I don't care if there are no brothers, if there are no my caballeros. I don't care. Just put the people who can do the shit and things will work better and we'll all live better lives. Okay? Capiche? Anyway. With parts of chance, secret. I gotta see. Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, all right, so let's see. Can I finish up with anything that's interesting? Oh, by the way, here's a report from the Stanford Academic Freedom Conference. Apparently, this is interesting. I saw this article and I'm like, Early in November, this is someone named Elizabeth Weiss. She said, early in November, I participated in the Stanford Academic Freedom Conference, a two-day event run by John Cochran and Ivan Marinovic, Stanford economics and business professors, respectively. Organizers' goal announced at the outset was to find strategies that would serve to protect the core mission of the scholarly community, to debate and refine knowledge, and to pass on knowledge to the next generation, and more importantly, to pass on the habits and norms of critical inquiry and scholarly debate that produce true knowledge, which sounds like what should happen in an academic setting, right? Well, the need for academics to recommit to these principles was reflected in the list of attendees, many of whom had suffered job loss, punitive disciplinary proceedings, ideologically motivated censorship, or social ostracism within their professional milieux. These included Jay Bhattacharya. Now, you've heard that name before, right? You've heard that name, Jay. Wait. No. Alejandro Calabero, or whatever the hell the name is not a math whiz. No. But Jay Bhattacharya, he's the guy who got in trouble for having a divergent view of COVID statistics and solutions. He got kicked off of social media for sure. But anyway, Jay Bhattacharya, the professor of medicine at Stanford University, whose research questioned the efficacy of COVID lockdowns. For over 2 years, Bhattacharya told us he faced hostility in the workplace and challenges to his funding sources. See, if you don't get the correct conclusion, they will take away your funding. And universities are all about funding. They love them some money. You only learn how much academic freedom you really have, he told us, once you take a controversial position. Now, but at least Bhattacharya kept his job. This same wasn't true of conference speaker Joseph Katz, who was fired by Princeton University after he criticized an open letter which had been signed by numerous fellow faculty members demanding anti-racism policies that would compromise academic freedom. More tragic is the case of Mike Adams, a conservative at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Well, that's just sacrilege right there. He's a professor who killed himself after being forced out of his job for offensive tweets. His place at the conference was represented by an empty chair that was placed in memoriam during the closing panel. Prior to the conference, Inside and Higher Ed writer Colleen Flaherty described concerns that this would be a hermetically sealed event, and it is true that organizers, presumably fearful that remarks delivered at the conference could lead to the same sort of cancel campaigns being discussed by participants, initially closed the proceedings to the press, which probably was a good idea. Stephanie M. Lee, a writer for Chronicle of Higher Education who unsuccessfully asked for permission to attend the conference, detailed a letter of complaint signed by over 50 Stanford faculty members, which described the meetup as an attempt, quote, to protect racist lies and other mistruths, end quote. So having a conference on divergent opinions is racist. To be fair, the conference did include several genuinely controversial figures, such as University of Pennsylvania law professor Amy Wax, who proudly trumpets the superiority of countries ruled by white Europeans. Also in attendance was a conservative entrepreneur, Peter Thiel, and Jordan Peterson. Oh my gosh! A clinical psychologist and professor emeritus at the University of Toronto, whose Twitter fusillades target in all manner of sacred cows. Perhaps the most controversial moment at the conference itself was when former Mount Royal University professor Francis Widdowson used the full uncensored English title of Marxist Quebec historian Pierre Vallière's famous, in Canada at least, the 1972 book, Negres Blancs d'Amérique, N-word and all. But is that a Canadians, is that a slur in Canada, Canada? I don't know. Anyway, another dissenter was Noah Diffenbaugh at Stanford Woods Institute for the Environment, who assured us that's all well in climate studies at his university and key journals such as Geophysical Research Letters, which he used to edit. He read a few negative reviews that he received in regard to his own journal submissions to illustrate the fact that not all criticism represents a threat to academic freedom. On the other hand, the point of the conference was not about whether attendees and participants agreed with the substance of the speaker's views, but rather what means could be used to protect academics' general right to speak and write freely. See, that concept is certainly waning at universities. You must toe the line, or either the students shout you out, or the faculty, writes a very long letter about you. Anyway, notwithstanding the suggestion by Flaherty and others that the conference would compromise a unified choral group singing from the same hymn book, several participants challenged the crowd by declaring that academic freedom wasn't really in peril. Well, see, now there were some divergent views at the conference. This included Hollis Robbins of the University of Utah, the only university dean to speak at the conference, who echoed Diffenbaugh's appraisal. I think things are going pretty well, she told us, while responding to the University of Chicago geophysicist Dorian Abbott, who'd been hounded by students and colleagues in 2020 after he criticized, after he criticized diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. When you hear the word equity, what should you do, class? run. But heat stroke training is about learning technical skills, while DEI indoctrination, the word I would use, is about communicating a preferred ideological viewpoint. As a general rule, this is true, of course, but as my own case illustrates, there is often a blurry line between legitimate scholarly criticism of one's ideas and ideologically motivated campaigns aimed at specific individuals. And then she wrote an article in Quillette last year. So anyway, this is a pretty long article. You can read the rest, but it's fascinating. A lot of these academics are starting to realize that, hey, you assholes who run universities are kind of not sticking to the mission of what universities are and using the maybe Socratic method to, learn about the world and shit. And sometimes not everyone agrees on things, and it's okay. And maybe sometimes a diverse viewpoint. Did I say diverse? Viewpoint diversity could be important too. And so there you go. Anyway. All right. I'm already past my normal time here. Let me give you just a rundown of what other articles you're going to find in here because now here's one. Harvard, speaking of academics, Harvard Medical School offers a course in caring for LGBTQIA+. The initials are getting longer and longer. LGBTQIA+ infants. Now, the article is kind of sloppily written. I've read this, but let me just give you the line of the article that really, really, really raised my eyebrow. They're talking about this hospital, Massachusetts General Hospital, right? The hospital offers a variety of transgender surgical procedures for individuals 18 and older, as well as resources for transgender youth, such as referrals to LGBTQ support groups. Now, also involved in the course is Boston Children's Hospital, which generated controversy last year over a video claiming that some children know their gender identity before they are born. The hospital created the first pediatric and adolescent transgender health program in the United States, according to the Center for Gender Surgery website. Some children know their gender identity before they are born. Okay, that's anyway. You can check. There's the article right here. There it is. Other headlines in the articles that I have so far: nightmare passengers reportedly stuck on a train for 29 hours on Amtrak. By the way, Pete Buttigieg, the America's mayor and the transportation secretary, he's getting a lot of shit right now. I wish I had time for this. Maybe I'll do another stream this afternoon, because also over 6,400 delayed U.S. flights following a mass system failure the other day. I remember that because someone told me they couldn't get on their plane. And then there's also an article, bumbling FAA focused on LGBTQI+. There's that extra letter again. Inclusivity, her story, and gender-neutral language. See, instead of worrying about getting the flight systems working, we're worried about gender-neutral language in the transportation department. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Also in the tabs today, cyber attacker incompetence, flights grounded, but at least they use proper pronouns. Again, talking about how the Department of Transportation is really focused on DEI, diversity, equity, run, and inclusion. And like I said, I may or may not get to these later today, but I do got to get done. But anyway, then the question is Pete Buttigieg the most incompetent transportation secretary in history? Now, it was interesting because I saw someone tweet something yesterday. They were saying, well, just because, Pete Buttigieg didn't have any experience, but neither did Elaine Chao. Remember, Elaine Chao was the transportation secretary under Donald Trump. Yeah, but she wasn't incompetent either. And also, she had been a cabinet secretary before, just not the cabinet secretary that was the transportation type. But anyway, Pete Buttigieg, good guy. Also, House committee sets date for a hearing on Twitter's censorship of Hunter Biden's laptop story. That is a good idea. Breitbart article there. You might see Jack and Vajayjay in front of the House again instead of Wizard of Ozing them, which that glorious thought just popped into my head. Anyway, also there's a group targeting targeting Twitter now for climate misinformation. I'm curious if you're going to start seeing articles from, Taylor Lorenz and Ben Collins and Kat Tenbarge about the fact that, there's so much climate misinformation on Twitter. We might have to see if the government can do something about that. The group behind the study finding an increase in climate change misinformation on Twitter is also funded Fusion GPS. Imagine that. The private investigative firm behind the Debunked Steele dossier. Well, anyway, you can read about that. And in Legal Insurrection, there's a great article, House Adopts New Judiciary Subcommittee of Weaponization of the Federal Government, which is kind of in line with that Twitter thing that they're doing. In National Pulse. What was this one? We're going to see they're going to release the 14,000 unseen hours of January 6th footage. So that should be interesting. I'm sure we're going to start seeing a whole bunch of that stuff like that. But here it is. Getz says Republicans will release 14,000 hours of J6 tapes that have been hidden. Looks like truth about Pelosi's Fed ops is going to be exposed even further. I can't speak. I would be really interested in seeing an investigation into this guy. You ever know who this guy is? You must go into the Capitol guy. You must go into the Capitol. We must go into the Capitol. You know who the hell that is, right? R.E. If you don't know who that is, well, you don't watch my show enough. Anyway. Now, this is what I'm going to finish with. This is the follow-up to yesterday, because I talked about gas stoves for a very long time yesterday. Apparently, the regulatory agency is backing down, saying there is no plan to ban gas stoves. They must have watched my show yesterday. The Consumer Product Safety Commission Chairman Alex Hohn-Sarek said on Wednesday that the regulatory agency has no plans to prohibit natural gas stoves after one of his colleagues hinted that a ban could be possible. I guess enough people talked about this and said, fuck you, to get them to back down and shut the fuck up. Now, there's a whole article on this, but that's the only thing I care about in this article. But where it leads to is how this young lady, Donkey Teeth, after her little venture into gas stoves and why they're terrible, she was humiliated by a GOP congressman in gas stove dispute. And this is what we'll finish with. In the aftermath of reports of the Biden administration was looking into banning gas stoves, Representative Ronnie Jackson, Republican of Texas, declared, I will never give up my gas stove. If the maniacs in the White House come for my stove, they can pry it from my cold, dead hands. Come and take it, bitch. Okay, I kind of embellished that last little flurry. But like I said, you can come pry it from my cold, dead dishpan hands because, I've got a nice, clean kitchen. Anyway, so naturally, Representative Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez couldn't keep her trap shut and tried to take a shot at Jackson and failed miserably. The notoriously dim-witted squad member clearly thought she had a solid burn when she pointed out, quote, did you know that ongoing exposure to nitrous dioxide from gas stoves is linked to reducing cognitive performance? To which Jackson replied, AOC says gas stoves cause reduced cognitive performances, and yet she uses a gas stove. This is a picture of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's kitchen, and she indeed has a gas stove. Is this a self-diagnosis? AOC, as a medical doctor, I can tell you this. What's wrong with your head is not caused by gas stoves. It's something way bigger. Something way bigger is causing your deceased cognitive function. So, someone in the chat said that yesterday. Remember? Or maybe it was a tweet. I don't know. But when she wrote this, did you know it is linked to reduced cognitive performance? So someone said, oh, so your parents had gas stoves when you were growing up, right? But no, she has one in her little apartment here. I don't know if this is her New York apartment or if this is her Washington apartment, but she clearly has a gas stove. And maybe, now that I see this, maybe AOC has a point. Other than the one between her ears. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I got to go. I appreciate everyone who joined me today on the Morning Night Live. Now, if you haven't done this yet, I would really appreciate if you would hit a like button. Now, we got 52 people here. That's fantastic. I'm sure there's a bunch of new viewers, and 48 have already liked it. So if you haven't done so yet, let's fix that. Also, a reminder, this show is brought to you by you, and the show grows because of you. Please share the stream even before the show tomorrow or during the show today or after the show today or whatever you want to do it. It helps the channel a lot, and I really appreciate it. And finally, if you want to really show that you like me and you want to make sure that this show continues unabated, you can sponsor the show at pdognight.live 24 hours a day. That's the Streamlabs link. That's where you don't have to give Susan 30%. But I'm certainly happy to if you do super chats during the show, if you do Venmo, Cash App, offline, whatever. But the one thing about the Streamlabs link up here is that you can put a message that is robust. Okay, you don't get limited because you did a $2 donation versus a $100 donation. It remains robust because you have the same number of characters either way. 254, I believe, something like that. It's like a really long tweet you can put in the messages, and I really appreciate it. So, oh, and if you're watching a replay, or even if you're coming back to see what you missed because you got here late or you had to leave early, put a comment in the comment section. That always helps too. Thank you for reminding me of that. Reacciona de Puerto Rico, a very good friend of the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, gotta go. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.